Good Friday evening to you. Hope your weekend is off to a good start. Welcome to this edition of More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. Plenty to get to. We're going to talk Browns. They are getting ready for their second preseason game of the year. A little under 24 hours away as they get ready to play the Colts tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Whenever we talk the Browns, we welcome in our expert from Browns Film Breakdown, Jake Burns, our X's and O guy. Jake, appreciate the time as always. What are you looking forward to with this second preseason game against the Colts after they had those 2 days of practices in conjunction with the Colts?
Yeah, I think what you want to see in this situation is just a team that comes out ready to compete, especially when they've already competed against that same team for a couple of days, like you said, Dave. So, I think you're going to want to see. I remain intrigued by the end of the wide receiver depth chart. Who's going to end up making the roster there? I know Damian Ratley just returned off of his long absence from the hamstring injury, and Jalen Strong continues to have a really good camp and is pushing to be sort of that Rashad Perriman-like resurgence in a guy's career that we saw Perriman have and parlay into a contract in Tampa Bay after being productive with the Browns. So the wide receiver depth chart fascinates me. And then I think we're going to get our first prolonged look at Kareem-Hunt. I think he is set to take a lot of snaps. I think the Browns want to get him a ton of preseason work, knowing they're probably not going to see him the first 8 weeks, even in the building. It seems still far-fetched that the NFL is going to allow him to be around the Browns and practice and all of that. So, yeah, I think that it'll be interesting for everybody to get a look at what Kareem Hunt can do in this offense, and that remains one of the more fascinating points going into this week. But you just want to see the group get better, see the right guard situation maybe become a little bit more clear. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit more. But and then see where Wilkes is using his defensive backs and different sub packages and things like that, because I think you can get a good feel for the base scheme stuff here in the second week of the preseason, which isn't all that eventful.
When you look at you mentioned Jalen Strong. That's a guy who had some success early and then was hurt. He looks like he's healthy, but that's a guy that has been a legitimate NFL receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's had stretches where he's shown that he can play. I think, like you said, the injury issues have gone away. Seems to be the healthiest he's been in a long time. And then, Baker Mayfield, 2 straight years, if you include Rashard Higgins in that mix too, of just making guys better around him, giving guys ample opportunity with accurate throws to make plays on the football. We saw that diving catch yesterday by Strong that was really impressive, but it was put in a tight little window for him to go make a play on it. So, as a wide receiver, if you know the ball is going to be in the right spot, almost every time you're going out on a route, it just sort of, it has a way of elevating the play. And then, when he gets around Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, and some of that stuff rubs off on people. So I think Jalen Strong has a nice profile. He's not a run away from you guy like Rashad Perriman is, but he's a go up and get the football and a big body that the Browns need at the end of that depth chart.
When you look at the second preseason game, it used to be, the first preseason game, the starting quarterback and the ones would get a series. You'd grow that to 2, and then 3 is kind of the dress rehearsal. That's kind of changed a little bit just based on the pounding that guys take. What do you get a sense as the second preseason game has become?
My thought process is it's going to be pretty similar to the first, where you see the first string guys for maybe a series or 2, and that's it. It's going to be a lot of the second, third team guys. I would imagine you see a lot of Garrett Gilbert again, so trying to figure out. But these are long dress rehearsals for guys who are auditioning not just for the Browns but for the rest of the NFL. And I just think the teams that are getting really smart about this stuff are saying we shouldn't even be playing our starters more than a series or 2 anyway. So, yeah, we typically, like you said, Dave, we love the third game as that sort of dress rehearsal. But, it's the least amount of snaps these guys can take in meaningless games, the better off you're going to be, because everybody pretty much comes into week 1 rusty. You're sort of working it out as you get into the games. But I'd rather be rusty than be absent 2 really big players.
Does it concern you that Odell Beckham Jr. won't play and that he may not play at all in the preseason? And does it go back to kind of some of the things we've talked about where that work that they're getting in practice gives them the timing that they need?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's not beneficial for him to miss practice necessarily, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. Good receivers, good quarterbacks find a way to make things work, and I think they'll be fine. They've worked enough. They've gone through a good portion of camp, running routes together, getting on the same page. I think Odell Beckham has played in a fair share of team drills. So, yeah, you would like him to be out there, but if he's dealing with the hip pointer, which is as guys advance in age, he's a 26-year-old guy now. He's played a lot of football. Like those little soft tissue injuries are going to happen. So just get him healthy, get him right, and then, keep him in bubble wrap until September 8th.
Let's talk a little bit about Mack Wilson. Guy's had a great camp. Do you see them maybe expanding, shifting a role with him where he might be more than just a linebacker?
Essentially, I think people could kind of point to this and say, well, it's just a 4-3 if they're going to keep a third linebacker on them, and that's true. But Wilson provides a different set of skills, and I think that's what Wilkes' defense will try to do. People have asked me about, why did the Browns change Wilson from a Mike to a Will, and why did they take Sione Takitaki and put him in Well, the Will is asked to make a lot of plays in coverage, and that's what Mack Wilson's really good at. And if they could parlay his coverage skills to another position on the field where they could use him in the slot against maybe tight ends or bigger slot receivers, it would make a lot of sense if they like him in certain zone coverage setups. So, I think it will be interesting for the Browns in terms of how they use their personnel. And I think Mack Wilson will be an interesting part to pay attention to if they use him and not taking out Christian Kirksey and Joe Schobert and allowing those guys to play three linebacker sets essentially, but Wilson has more of that safety sort of linebacker hybrid skill set they're looking for. But yeah, back to the point I'm making, which is they want to put guys in positions that they're good to play, in terms of their skill set, matching up skill sets with what guys are good at. And that's why Sione Takitaki moves inside to Mike, where he's focusing more on run game, those sorts of things, filling quickly, which is he's good at. So it's a refreshing thing where they're taking guys, what are they good at and where do they fit in and where can we accentuate their skill sets?
Jake Burns, we're going to take a quick timeout. Jake will rejoin us. We'll talk some areas that the Browns may upgrade before the beginning of the regular season. Time for us to take a quick timeout, but we want to tell you about Northeast Factory Direct. Northeast Factory Direct. If you need new furniture and want really nice stuff but don't want to spend an outrageous amount of money, got to check out Northeast Factory Direct. Sofas, sectionals, theater seating, bedroom sets, mattresses, kitchen tables, dining room sets, hot tubs, pool tables, kitchen cabinets, granite countertops, you get the idea. They got a ton of stuff. The same stuff, if not nicer than you'd find at a big, expensive retail store. The owner is a guy named Alex, and he's a great guy. Could charge you the same price as the big box stores, but he doesn't. Buys in volume, cuts out all the expensive overhead, and passes the savings on to you. 3 locations in Northeast Ohio: West 140th Street in Cleveland, in the old B&B Appliance on Lakeland Boulevard in Eastlake, and Freeway Drive in Macedonia. You can check out everything they have online. NortheastFactoryDirect.com is the place to go. We've got to step aside, take a quick timeout. Jake Burns will rejoin us, and we'll look at a couple of areas the Browns may look to upgrade before the start of the 2019 regular season. More sports and less. Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition will be right back. Stay with us.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine. Welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. Back to the Browns talk as they get ready for their second preseason game of the year against the Indianapolis-Colts tomorrow afternoon in Indianapolis. Let's welcome back in our Browns expert, Jake Burns, from the Browns Film Breakdown. And Jake, this is kind of the midway point of the preseason. Obviously, you're always keeping an eye on that 53-man roster. What are some areas that you think the Browns may look to potentially upgrade on that roster? Some of the positions when they look towards the regular season.
Yeah, I think these are just areas that they want to target. I would certainly have, and I'm not sure that there are fixes out there. I'm not sure teams are just willing to trade away players, but or cut players that would be sufficient starters elsewhere. But right guard is a position they are going to still have to address. Freddie-Kitchens has been pretty vocal that they don't have an answer there yet. They've wanted somebody to step up, but they haven't had it. Eric Kush has been playing right guard predominantly for them, and he had a rough week 1. I'm very interested to see how he plays in week 2 in terms of how he handles balance, strength, anchoring, all of those things. Drew Forbes, the 6th-round pick, Southeast Missouri State, has had some buzz. It seems like they were moving him around early in camp, and against the Redskins, Freddie-Kitchens mentioned that he flashed some skill and some things they wanted to see, so they're going to give him a shot, and they've given him some meaningful snaps this week. So pay attention to Drew Forbes getting some right guard snaps. I think tight end 3 is going to be extremely interesting how they go about that position. You know, currently Seth DeValve is the leader in the clubhouse, but he's been out for a concussion for over a week now. So they need 3 tight ends that can function in this offense. You know, Freddie-Kitchens used 13 personnel, which is 1 running back, 3 tight ends quite frequently last year. I think they want to do that for protection purposes. Does that mean they keep Pharaoh Brown, who I think is just a really stiff athlete, hasn't shown enough of what we need to see to feel comfortable there? If Seth DeValve is going to continue to have injury issues, it's, you know, it remains to be seen whether they'll pick somebody up off of the free agent market or waiver wire, or maybe use somebody on the roster at a position of strength to go make a trade. We saw them sign Rico Gathers, but I don't know if that's necessarily the answer. And then kicker, you know, I don't know. People have asked me who's out there, who can they get to be the kicker if the you know, Greg Joseph, Austin Seibert duo can't figure it out. I don't know. This kid from Baltimore that was traded to the Vikings for a 5th-round pick was a name, but I don't know. They just have to figure it out. I think Matt Bryant's still out there on the free agent market, maybe. But I you know, between Greg Joseph and Austin Seibert, they've been looking for one of them to figure this role out, and neither of them have figured it out or taken advantage of things. So I guess the situation is unfortunate, but we got to say fingers crossed for now that one of those two young kickers can capitalize and earn this job for the long haul.
The other thing that we heard this week was that Dontrell Hilliard is banged up. Does that necessitate them going out and getting a running back? We know Kareem-Hunt's the answer, but he's not the answer for the first 8 games of the season.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think they're going to entertain it. Jay Ajayi is still on the free agent market. Jaquiz Rogers, just guys who can come in, be pass catchers, maybe run the football a couple times a game here and there. Dearness Johnson, the South Florida kid who's in camp, has flashed. I thought he's played pretty well considering where he was, you know, picked up and taken, and he runs hard. And Freddie mentioned specifically being impressed with Dearness, so maybe they feel good about him. But I would pay attention. I think that they might feel like if this hamstring issue for Hilliard lingers, that they need to add somebody to feel really comfortable about the depth at that position for the first 8 weeks.
Are you concerned at all with what's happened with Austin Corbett, just given the fact that, you know, they had hoped he would step in and be the answer, you know, picked pretty highly, and it just hasn't happened?
Yeah, I think people want to label him as a bust, and you know, I obviously think the Browns wanted him to be a contributor in the first 2 years. They drafted him hoping he could play that left tackle spot that was open last year. That didn't pan out. Quickly, they figured that wasn't going to pan out. Tried to move him to guard, and they played him left guard the entire preseason, even kicking out Joel Bitonio to left tackle, but that didn't work out for the young man. He played backup tackle in 6 linemen, unbalanced sets. He would come in the game. Last year, he didn't play a ton. And then this year, the right guard position was by all means his to win. And it's just a lack of technique, a lack of functional strength that he's just not playing with, and it's causing him some issues. And it's just inconsistent. So they've sort of said, hey, we want to use this kid as a center going forward. We're going to devote all of his time to the position we think he can be, which is a center, which is what he played a good amount of time in the Senior Bowl. Before he was drafted, he played a good amount of time at center. So the Browns are playing the long game with him. They know they have him for 4 years. If they're going to be signing a bunch of guys back at the end of this year, and they're going to get some budget restrictions. J.C. Treader might be one of those guys they don't feel like they have the money to bring back, and they can cut a corner there. And Austin Corbett could be working an entire season ready to play center and step into that role. So if he's able to do that, ideally you want your 33rd overall pick in a draft to play in the first 2 years. But, things don't always work out. The guy played tackle his entire college career, and that transition to the interior where pass sets are different, run game blocking responsibilities are different, the type of player you're blocking is different. I think people overlook the size of defensive tackles and nose guards compared to defensive ends. So I think that it's going to be extremely interesting to figure out where he's at. And if he's able to play center for 2 years, I don't think that necessarily makes him a bust if he's effective. So it hasn't been ideal, but at the same time, it's not the point where we should pull the plug on who this guy is and give up on him as a part of the Browns franchise.
Center's a position on that offensive line that's often undervalued by some fans. That's one of the important roles. You better know that's the guy that's basically the quarterback of that offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling out protections. They communicate with the quarterback frequently. They have a lot of different things, especially against four-man fronts. They're typically not covered, so they're going to be responsible for checking out, helping out, chipping, picking up blitzes. Yeah, you typically, like you said, Dave, the center is the cerebral player who can call out protections, can kick protections, slide them, help out his quarterback and all of those things, but also a guy who can who can hold his own and get out and screen game and run a little bit and do different things. So you want an effective center who's not a sloth in there necessarily. And I think Corbett has the tools in his tool belt to play that position effectively.
Jake Burns, we appreciate the insight as always. Jake Burns from the Browns Film Room Breakdown. We appreciate the time, and we'll be checking in with Jake throughout the season for insights on the Cleveland Browns. Time for us to take a quick time out, but before we do, explore your future and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more. That's tri-c.edu to find out more. Tri-C, where bright futures begin. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. When we return, we're still talking Browns. We'll hear from Freddie-Kitchens. Players' Day and Team Day off today. They get ready for the Indianapolis-Colts tomorrow afternoon. The Browns head coach, Freddie-Kitchens. When we return to more sports and less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. Stay with us.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back to more Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. The Browns wrapped up 2 days of joint practices in Indianapolis with the Colts ahead of tomorrow's preseason game against the Colts at 4 o'clock kickoff. Browns with a day off to get ready for that preseason game. Freddie-Kitchens talked a little bit about Drew Forbes playing some right tackle, about Kareem-Hunt, and how impressive Jalen Strong has been. The head coach was most happy with the way his team performed the second day of the joint practices and felt that was more like what he wanted to see from his football team.
Hi, guys. I thought we got a lot accomplished today. It was a lot like yesterday, and tempo was more like I liked it today than it was yesterday. So I think we identified a problem yesterday. Not that there was anything wrong with the tempo, but we set the tempo. Nobody else does. And I think these guys learned that today.
A lot more skirmishes today.
There was, wasn't there?
There were. I mean, OBJ said message received.
Yeah.
After you talked yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's okay.
I told you guys yesterday, we're not in the backing down from anything.
Prior to that yesterday, did you think there was backing down?
No, I didn't. I just think sometimes when you change settings, you kind of, we just have I don't know what to say, we just have a way that we're going to treat our practices. All right, that's how we're going to practice. And I think that doesn't ever change. All right, it doesn't matter who we're going against. It doesn't matter if we're going against ourselves. But I think we learned a lot about ourselves from the standpoint of that's how you've got to approach it. You keep in your tempo. Let everybody else adjust to yours, not the other way around.
You kind of left it at Lucas Oil Stadium to start yesterday, you think?
Sir? So
you kind of left that attitude behind at the start of yesterday's practice, do you think?
I think so. I think these guys are resilient from the standpoint of we can identify a problem, and I think these guys work to fix it. And I think we identified that problem last night, and I think they came out and fixed it.
You had Ratley came back, maybe not just him, but just addressing guys that are in position fights that get hurt early in camp and the onus that puts on them to get healthy and then catch the coach's eye again.
It is. It's a big factor when you start evaluating your roster at the end of all this. Whatever's on tape is who they are. So you want to get some good stuff on tape. And time's running out, you know, the clock's ticking. And I think the sense of urgency has to be picked up in some areas. And I think they're working at that. It just doesn't happen overnight.
Does a guy like that, he played a little bit for you, I think he caught 13 balls last year, does that get factored in, or it's what have you done for me lately?
It's what he did today, you know.
How have you seen Odell stay involved, even when he's not been out there as much in team drills?
Well, you know, we had a conversation today, all of them. Like, you know, Odell and Jarvis, they need to lead that room, and they're doing a good job of that. And he can still lead from over there. He can still lead and make sure those guys are doing what they're supposed to do, correct them, prep them for things that are about to happen. I think him and Jarvis both are doing a good job of that.
He says he'll be ready and that he doesn't want to let Baker down, so he thinks their timing and chemistry will be fine.
Yeah.
What you've seen throughout his first 5 years in the league, does that convince you that he'll be fine come week one?
Yeah, I think he'll make the team, if that's what you're asking.
That's not more than fine. I mean, will he be the guy that you traded for?
I'm not worried about Odell at all. He will be ready to go, mentally, physically. He'll be ready to go.
Since we won't speak to you tomorrow, I know you'll miss that, but can you give us an idea of Baker's play time tomorrow in the offensive line?
No, I can't. We'll wait and see on Saturday. I haven't fully decided yet. I'm not trying to avoid the question. I really haven't. I swear to you guys, I take it one day at a time. And I think I have a preliminary plan, but I think that changes. You know, we got some good work done today and yesterday. So, you know, we'll see. We'll talk about it and determine that.
Odell said that you guys have a plan for him and that he's trying to just like go with the plan.
Yep.
Is the plan to like kind of hold him out of all these preseason games and let him heal? Or, I mean, is it hip injury a thing or not a big deal? Or?
I'm not really going to even discuss our plan. It's like our plan. So, you know, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just not going to talk about our plan.
We saw Nick Chubb break away on one today. Obviously, we saw that last season. Was there any point where that was a surprise to you, or did you always know he had that home run ability?
You know, I think during the evaluation process, you saw the speed. You know, you saw the agility. You know, he's got one of the best jump cuts I've ever seen. Now, I'm not claiming I'm the You know, I've seen every jump cut, so I'm sure I'm going to offend somebody with that, but he's got a good jump cut in the hole. He's got great body control, balance, all the characteristics and skill sets that good running backs have. So, yeah, we saw it.
Do you get a feel, like, now that you have him and Kareem in pads and, you know, working through full practices, do you get I mean, I know just from the tape and everything, you probably have an idea of how they complement each other, but do you get a better feel for it when you see it out here?
Yeah, I think, you know, Kareem came back, you know, really came back yesterday for the first time with meaningful reps. And, you know, you see the ability, and I think everybody sees it.
That run by Chubb really fired up Baker. Was that like a triumph for the line, too, of the day? I mean, was that a legit touchdown, or did you just call something?
What do you think?
Yeah, I know there's no tackling, but
they
left the field after the one play. So.
I think we know, and I think they know.
Yeah, but I mean, it was gratifying to the offensive line for that play.
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime you have an explosive play, this game's built on explosive plays and not turning the ball over. So anytime you get an explosive play, everybody understands the significance of that moving forward in a game. And that was an explosive play.
What are the things you've seen in Drew Forbes' development that has kind of put him in the mix a little bit there?
I think he's gotten better and kept his head down when everything around him seemed to be falling apart. He kept his head down and just kept working. And I think he's seeing some of the benefits of doing it like that. And that's just one example. But, you know, he's doing well, or he's doing better, you know.
I know you talk about consistency all the time.
Some of these guys just have to play, you know. Some of these guys, you know, come from small schools. They just got to play, you know. He flashed in the game the other night, you know, so that earned him some more reps, you know. He flashed yesterday, so that earned him some more reps. It's kind of, we're like on a reward system around here, I guess, you know, like your little gas card thing, you know.
Have you seen Jalen Strong get more consistent as camp's gone on?
Yeah, I think so. I think a bunch of those guys have, but I think Jalen definitely has, and he just needs to keep working. It's, you know, in a sense, we still got a long way to go, but what they have to understand is the clock is ticking, so the sense of urgency has to be picked up, and I think it has. I'm not saying it hasn't, but the sense of urgency. I mean, I feel a sense of urgency. I want them to feel it. You know.
Do you like the physicality that he brings to that group? Could bring to that group?
Yeah, that he could potentially bring to the group, because he is a physical guy when he wants to be. We just need it every day.
Is the injury
I just want to know what's going to be on the field. You know, I want to know every day what I'm going to get.
Freddie-Kitchens talking about wide receiver Jalen Strong as Browns getting ready for their second preseason game against the Indianapolis-Colts Saturday at 4 p.m. Today, Friday, a day off for the Browns. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. We'll hear from some of the players, but want to tell you about Northeast Factory Direct. If you need new furniture and really want nice stuff but don't want to spend an outrageous amount of money, you got to check out Northeast Factory Direct. They have sofas, sectionals, theater seating, bedroom sets, mattresses, kitchen tables, dining room sets, hot tubs, pool tables, kitchen cabinets, granite countertops, and more. You get the idea. It's the same stuff, if not nicer, than you find at the big, expensive retail stores. But the owner, Alex, is a good guy, could charge you the same price as the big, expensive stores, but instead he buys in volume and he cuts out all the expensive overhead, passes on the savings directly to you. 3 locations, West 140th in Cleveland, in the old B&B Appliance on Lakeland Boulevard in Eastlake, and on Freeway Drive in Macedonia. You can check out everything at northeastfactorydirect.com. Time for us to take a quick time out here on More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. When we return, we'll hear from Kareem-Hunt and Odell Beckham Jr. as they get ready for the Colts' second preseason game. More Sports and Less Levine. We'll be right back after this timeout.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. I'm Dave Bacon. Browns getting ready for their second preseason game of the year. They'll be on the road playing the Colts tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Kareem Hunt may see his first action with the Browns in the second preseason game. Odell Beckham Jr. not expected to play, and in fact, Odell may not play the entire preseason. But Beckham says he'll be good to go once the regular season begins. And he's also excited about the possibilities of this Browns offense.
I feel good. I feel great. It's just preseason. There's no point in, trying to push anything right now. We play September 8th, so that's all you really get ready for.
Do you think you might sit out all 4 preseason games maybe?
I have no idea. When Coach Freddie gets up here, you have to ask him. Him and the training staff have done a great job at just figuring out a game plan, exactly what we want to do. So I'm just following their lead.
Is it something you would play with if it were regular season?
Yeah.
So maybe is it really not that big of a deal?
It's nothing. It's like I've been in this position before. Headlines get made, and there's so much good stuff going on with this team. So many players who are out here practicing, and they are competing, and it's enjoyable for me to be able to be out there with them and be able to sit there and watch and learn the plays and see these guys compete. So for me, it's like I don't want to focus so much on me. I'm good. There's a lot going on that we should focus on. And a lot of people out here making plays, Strong coming along, Higgins making plays. The ball's getting rolling. I'm just excited to get back out there with them just because it looks like so much fun just watching them move the ball up and down the field. Seeing them be efficient and, like you said earlier, not backing down from anybody. So I love this team's mentality. I love this team's direction. I'm just excited to get back out there and be a part of it.
You're so competitive. So is it difficult to contain yourself?
Yeah, it is. And that's the reason, why they have the plan that they had for me, because I would just push, and even in the past, I would just push. That's the only thing I know. I'm too competitive. I'm too competitive to be out here and not go 110. I don't know any other way. But I also don't like being out here and not being able to go. So it's tough, but you just trust their plan. That's really all I can do.
What can you do behind the scenes to build that chemistry with Baker? I know there's nothing like reps on the field, but is there something you guys can do now with your situation to try to keep up with it?
Maybe go to the movies, something like that. We'll figure out something to do. Me and him, we talk every day. We talk football. We talk about just the little ins and outs of football. Even when I'm watching him make other throws, I'm still coming to ask him, what is it that you're seeing? What is it? And we just talk football all day. So it's not something that I'm worried about. It's some two competitive, fiery people who, just the way that he is, I don't want to let him down. So I'm going to do everything in my power to be exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. And as I've seen already, he's going to deliver that ball.
Now that you're around him every day, what stands out about Baker?
I was around him a lot. Like I told you, I was around him a lot during the offseason. We'd go out to eat, we'd do all that. But to be able to see him in his element in football, I love the leader he is. I love his attitude, his swagger. I love all that about him. It's what made him him. And I had heard something that Coach said. He's one of those people who had been told no all his life, so he wants to show you yes. And it's similar for me, so I understand him. And that's why I say I don't really want to let him down. It's somebody who's worked to get to where they're at and who has doubted
pretty much all their life, so I understand them. I get them.
So you had a bird's eye view of these 2 days, at least about your offense. Would you say this was a triumphant 2 days for the Browns?
Definitely. Like I said, I'm excited for the direction that we're moving in. Like, I can see it. I can feel it, you know, from you guys. I can feel it from the fans. I can feel it from this team. They're excited about this season. You know, first time being in the stadium, I can feel that energy. I can really, like I told you, I'm an empath. I can really feel that. So I know that they're ready. I know we're going to be ready when it's time.
Hey, this was like kind of the first time we got to see Chubb and Kareem both in pads doing like a full, you know, workload. What do you think of that?
All I know is, you know, the season's long, right? And to have somebody who's of that caliber coming in the back end of the season fresh, you know what I'm saying.
Kareem, you look at that offense you had in Kansas City, it was spectacular. Can this offense be that good?
I believe so, you know, definitely. I believe we can.
What similarities do you see?
We just got, you know, a number of like receivers, running backs, talent, great quarterback, and the same thing KC had, so the similarities.
Did you know Odell before you guys got on this team together?
Oh yeah, I know him. I've seen him around before, talked to him, you know.
I mean, what's it like having a talent like that in your offense?
I mean, I'll be shocked if I see him drop a ball or something like that, so I don't know. he says it for himself. He just goes out there and makes plays over and over again.
Does it remind you in some ways of the combo that you had, you know, you and Tyreek were together?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Tyreek's a great player too, you know. Tremendous speed. I don't think I've ever seen speed like that before, but, you know, it's just great talent. You know, Odell's another guy who could just make big plays all the time.
How lucky are you to go from that offense to this offense?
I'm very lucky, you know. Coach Reed does a great job of, you know, putting people in great positions to be successful, and I feel like I carried some of that over with me and, you know, learned a lot from him.
You know, you said you're taking it day by day. As long as you're allowed, do you want to play?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
Have you felt any rust at all, or is it just totally normal? Getting back in pads?
It's just, you know, it's normal. I just, you know, control what I can do every play and, you know, move on to the next play. Just get better and learn from it.
Browns skill position players excited about the offense as the Browns get ready for their second preseason game of the year coming up Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Want to remind you that there is legalized sports wagering a little bit over an hour from downtown Cleveland. Presque Isle Downs and Casino. The Bet America Sportsbook is open and ready to go. The Browns and the Colts, Browns are 3-point underdogs at Indianapolis, so you can head to Presque Isle Downs and Casino, the Bet America Sportsbook, and wager on that one. Browns 3-point underdogs in Indianapolis for their second preseason game. That'll do it for us on this edition of More Sports and Less Levine, the Weekend Winners Edition. Have a great weekend. Remember, Les Levine back in here Monday from 6 to 7 for More Sports and Less Levine. Have a great weekend, everyone.